where I got poopy ass from, but I bet you giggled on that one, really. Wait, we got more information for you, Manny. Don't worry about that. There's more coming. There's more coming. In fact, it's not enough that the progressives and the socialists in this country got their asses whipped last week, even though this president decided he wasn't going to, what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't going to acknowledge the fact that 3/4 of the country in 30 states, after he said, it's my what were the words that he used? His policies were on the ballot. Yeah, they were, and they were completely rejected because he didn't expect it. So, he got his ass whipped there, and now he's telling everybody how, it's not the fact that, you got to look at the 3/4 of the people that didn't vote. That's the voice you got to hear. Plus the fact he didn't get his message out clear enough. In other words, he didn't tell the American people or was clear enough about his socialistic policies, you see. So that's his reasoning for him getting his ass whipped, and for Harry Reid to get his ass whipped and kicked out of the Senate. So these are the answers. This is the rhetorical garbage that they're putting forth now, because there's no way that they can face the fact that what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're doing it, and the way they're doing it is being rejected by the American people. The awakened giant, I told him never to awaken. I told him this. Stop, because once these people are awake, you're finished. And people have finally said enough is enough. We've had it. And the mandate, well, maybe it's not such a mandate on the Republicans as it is this administration and what they've done. Because you see, like I told you, ladies and gentlemen, the lesser of two evils, we've taken it. We've got 2 years now. And I think if the American people stay awake and stay with their heads in the game, that they will realize that either the Republicans have done a decent job right all along, decent, not fantastic or great, because they're not, but keeping the country on track as far as our Constitution, as far as what our forefathers believed, what this country was built on, our face in the world, if you will, the respect of other countries, to regain that again. There are little things that they can do, and then come the 2016 elections for president, maybe will change. Maybe we'll get. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then I think we should vote them out and then maybe give, the Libertarians a shot at it. Or the Independents, maybe one of their candidates. You know what I'm saying? Now we've got a shot to reset the system the way we want it. If we keep it in the flow that it's going now, we did it to them back in 2010. We did it to them again now in 16. Now it's time to let them know that either you do your job and you work for the American people, not the other way around. Maybe, just maybe, you can keep your job. And if not, we're going to wipe the slate clean again. This is the message I think that the American people need to get. And I think they're getting it. Slowly but surely, but I think they're getting it. I'm getting off subject here a lot, but Ernie's telling me the Mexican government is providing pro bono legal assistance to all illegals during proceedings to deport. Okay. Excellent. Anyway, that's another thing these Republicans need to address, and I think they will. This president is threatening amnesty, and I don't know. Now, either Stabby isn't in the chat room, or he's afraid to answer me. I don't know which. But we're going to see. I'll give him a couple of more minutes to answer my questions. But he knows what's coming, I think. Yeah, I think he does. Well, here we go. I'm going to move on here. I'm going to play something for you. And I want you to listen very carefully. And then I'm going to explain what it is that you're listening to. Okay, so I may have to play it twice. It's very short. But please, listen very carefully.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot. You can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent.
How this law was going to increase your spending on healthcare. How your policies were going to increase. How you weren't going to be able to keep your doctors. How you weren't going to be able to keep the package that you had. How that you were going to pay for birth control whether you wanted to or not. Oh no, that's not how it's going to happen. If you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. And this went on and on for years. 4 years they battled back and forth. 4 years this administration told you none of that was true. Because the only thing that the Republicans wanted was to destroy the Affordable Health Care Act, because they didn't want poor people getting, health care, the bad old Republicans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this man that you heard just now, his name is Jonathan Gruber. Jonathan Gruber was one of the main architects of this law. That's right. They caught him on tape at an MIT convention or whatever it is they get together. I don't know. But he's a professor at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. All right. And one of the architects of the healthcare reform laws. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over each and everything he just said, because here is proof solid, ladies and gentlemen. This administration lied to you. The people that put this bill together lied to you. Every single Democrat in the Senate that voted for this lied to you. And the hammer hasn't fallen yet, ladies and gentlemen. So here it is, out of the mouths of one of the drafters of this bill. Here's what he has to say. Let's take it piece by piece.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate.
All right. It was written in a tortured way so that the CBO, which is a nonpartisan arm of the government that looks at bills and then decides what it's going to cost and how it's going to cost. They deliberately deceived the CBO so that their numbers would come out wrong. Did you hear that? Deliberately. They put so much wording, 2,200 pages into this friggin' law so that nobody could read it, nobody could understand it. In fact, the people that wrote it don't even understand it, except for the fact that they knew when they wrote it that they were deceiving the CBO, number one. Let's continue.
Mandate is taxes.
Okay, now, they know, let
CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies.
If the CBO scores this bill as taxes, the bill dies. Because they knew, ladies and gentlemen, when they wrote this law, that if the American people found out that they were going to have another tax on top of what they were paying for health insurance, and this tax was coming along, no way it's going to pass. They lied about that too, because they argued with the Supreme Court that this was not a tax.
Okay, so it's written to do that.
It's written to do that.
In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed.
You hear that? If the American people found out that healthy people were going to pay for the sick people to get money, it wasn't going to pass. This is what the Republicans and Fox News, I'm going to throw it in, has been reporting for 4 years now, ladies and gentlemen, telling you the truth. Here it is, out of their own mouths. Here it comes. There's more.
Okay, just like the lack of transparency is a huge political advantage.
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. What did this president run on? You remember, ladies and gentlemen? How this was going to be the most transparent presidency in the history of this country. Well, he learned really fast, or knew before he even took office, that transparency was his enemy, that he couldn't use transparency, because if he did, he couldn't get what he wanted done. Here it is, telling you straight out, ladies and gentlemen, and he's talking in front of people that are sympathetic to this cause. So this is the true progressive socialist agenda, right at you in their own words. Here we go.
And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever.
Call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. Call it what you want. We're going to get it because I want it. Because the American people are too stupid to understand. So we'll have to do it for you. You don't have to worry about reading it. You don't have to worry about what's in it. You don't have to read it before you vote on it, because you got to vote on it before you know what's in it. Because you're too stupid. You hear what he said? Ladies and gentlemen, let me play that again for you.
The stupidity of the American voter.
The stupidity of the American voter. The American people are too stupid. How many times have I told you this on this show, ladies and gentlemen? How many times have I said it to you? They think you're stupid. Here it is in their own words. One of the major architects of this bill. And it goes on.
Whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to get anything to pass. And
that was really, really critical to get anything to pass.
It's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent, but I'd rather have this law than not.
I'd rather have this law than not. Who the hell are you? Nobody knew who the hell you were, Mr. Gruber, until this came out, until, the light was shined on a bunch of scattering fucking roaches, okay? Now we know who you are. Now we know what your party's all about. Now we know what the progressives are after and what the socialists want. Are you happy now, America? This is what you voted for. This is what you put into office. This is what we've been fighting for the last 4 years. Here it is, in their own words, in your face, calling you a liar. How do you like it? Let's go into the chat room. Yeah. Goodbye. Fucking idiot. The clip failed. Nobody heard that clip? Oh, okay. So everybody heard the clip? Now I will play it in its entirety again. I'm going to play it again in its entirety one more time so that you can hear what's being said. All right, let me get back to it here one more time. And I think you'll be able to hear it better now.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay? So it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to get anything to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent, but I'd rather have this law than not. So it's kind of like his reporter story. There's things I wish I could change, but I'd rather have this law than not. It's just...
There are things I wish I could change, but I'd rather have the law. I'd rather have the law than not. I'd rather have the law than not. How's that working out for you, America? And let me tell you something. The other shoe hasn't dropped yet. The other shoe has not dropped yet on this healthcare thing. Believe me when I tell you, ladies and gentlemen,